All right, welcome back. Now we're going to dive into 05H-60, and I'm going to switch my color back to blue. So we have a circle with two right triangles. So I'm assuming these are the right angles right here. They must be since they both go to the diameter. Let me do that. They go to a diameter, so it has to be 90. Since that whole side, this arc length is 180 degrees then. So we know the shaded area, and we're asked for the diameter. Okay, okay. So a little bit tricky, but let's see if we can solve for it. We have R, obviously. I'm actually going to call it D since it's the diameter. I'm gonna call the hypotenuse for both triangles D. And using our law of sine, using our knowledge of SOHCAHTOA, sine of, I'm gonna write that out, SOHCAHTOA, which if any of y'all took, I believe it was Algebra 2 it was introduced in, SOHCAHTOA. It's a very useful tool. So SOHCAHTOA basically tells us sine of an angle is equal to the opposite over hypotenuse side. The cosine of an angle is equal to the adjacent over the hypotenuse, and tangent of the angle is equal to opposite over adjacent. We're going to probably use a couple of these here, if I had to guess sine and cosine, um, to get our answer. So let's see. Since this is the diameter, it's also the hypotenuse, right? To get the opposite side here, we look at our angle, and again, as I already mentioned, it's the opposite side. So we're looking at sine then. So as you know, sine of an angle, sine of theta is equal to O over H. So if we don't know what the opposite side is, you just multiply each side by H, and you have H sine theta. Okay. So that is how we would solve for that side length right there. So D, as in diameter, sine of 0.43 radians. I'm not going to put a degree sign there since, again, we're dealing with radians. Okay, and in much the same way, to get the adjacent side, its cosine of theta is equal to is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse, and you just multiply by the hypotenuse. So this is d multiplied by the cosine of 0.43 radian. So that right there is the diameter times the cosine of 0.43. That is the diameter times the sine of 0.43. And we just follow the same pattern down here. We have this adjacent side. That must be the diameter times the cosine of 0.91 radian. Made a mistake, I guess. 91 radian. And then this right here must be d times the sine, since it's the opposite. Sine of 0.91 radian. Okay. 0.91. Sine of, I'm going to rewrite that. It kind of, again, came out poorly. D sine of 0.91. Okay. So now all we have to do, the area of a right triangle is just the two legs multiplied together divided by 2, right? So if we add up all the area, so d, I'm going to use x, d squared, because d times d is x squared, or sorry, x times x is x squared, and then sine of 0.91, cosine of 0.91, and I'll change it by mode in just a moment, don't worry, plus the area of the other half, so it's x squared, then cosine of 0.43, sine of 0.43, divided by 2, all that area divided by 2, you're having it. And we set that equal to 9,530. Again, I told you I'd switch my mode. Make sure you're in radians because we're dealing with the radians, not degrees. And I mean, that's as good of a guess as any, right? Hopefully it doesn't throw an error. I might have to increase it. I got the length to be 148, and you round up to 149. Okay, 149, and that is our answer. So a little bit tricky, but as long as you know SOHCAHTOA, I mean, it's a breeze. So, all right, well, that was it for 05H-60. I hope I see you tomorrow for 05I-60. And again, you can look on ahead and see if you want to attempt it. So, well, I will see y'all tomorrow and have a blessed night, okay?